there's nothing wrong with being inspired, right? So you look at Nipsey's moves, like the marathon store had to be inspired by something, right? His the the wanting of creating a brand to stand out, that was inspired by some of his research that he got from multiple books, right? We've gone over time and time again about the cheesesteak, right? The $100 cheesesteak and that inspired the $100 mixtape. Now when we look at the logo, the marathon logo, many people have thought that was like a cop of Supreme, right? The clothing brand Supreme. Well, they actually gave the real origin as far as the logo, but we want to definitely break down the importance of inspiration.
Coming up with the box logo, our marathon box logo, the flag you alluded to, we borrowed from Life magazine. That's where the reference is from. Ours was from Life magazine because the imagery that we created for the campaign was in black and white on film. When all of our counterparts and everybody was going digital because it was more cost effective and it had you can upload it a lot quicker, we went the complete opposite way against the grain and we went with black and white film. And then with the flag, that was, every movement has its flag, so we had to have ours. And so again, Hussle always came up with these like really concise and specific ideas, and then he just handed it off to me for execution.
Before I let most go, I'm just inspired to do a flag now, deeper than the brand flag. So if anybody wants to do that for us, hey, Nicky at deeperthanthebrand.com. Let me know, okay? Yeah, anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. What's crazy, what comes to mind is that to a large extent, we know that best practices and fundamentals are essential, right? It's those things that everybody should follow. But I love what he says there that when everyone was going in one direction, they did the polar opposite. Because at some point, you do reach that mark where when you find yourself doing the same thing that everybody else is doing, and it's now going far beyond the fundamentals and the best practices that are just standard, almost like SOPs in a sense, that I do believe is you walking towards the end of your brand or your business, right? Because it's saying that you're not as innovative, you're not as willing to maybe take a risk or make something happen. So I love that they put that out or they made that move just early to say, oh, people are going digital. That's what they're doing. But you know what? Let's still go in this direction. As a matter of fact, we're going to go black and white or keep it black and white. It just gives you something different to stand out. We've talked about one of my favorite books, Purple Cow, which is that same exact mentality. So it's a fresh reminder to say innovation is simply doing something different that even in what is considered standard. So that's pretty cool. And then you don't always have to reinvent the wheel, truth be told. I mean, you just look at something that already exists and saying, what if I just bring that over here and add my spin to it? So, I put here simple ideas executed consistently, over time. Powerful.
Wait, first of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
That was such a simple bar. That was so powerful.
I just wrote it down because, he was saying like Nip would pass me the idea and I would just execute. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking about like, okay, what does it take to create that? Right. Oh, it's communicating simple ideas so that they can be executed consistently. Over time, this is what you get. You get that legacy and again, we're talking about almost brand and culture as two words that are interchangeable, at least in this light of the conversation. And that's what I imagine every person who has a brand or a business wants to be known for. Can you generate simple ideas that are executed consistently?
Okay. I don't know how I'm supposed to follow up. I probably won't. I think the only thing I will say is that there's nothing wrong with being inspired by the greats. Nothing wrong with, and I think that is the focus of of our podcast is what has the greats done? What is their blueprints that we can just put our own swag to it, our own wording to it, our own vibe to it, and our own authenticity. So when I didn't even know that it was Time magazine. And now that I think about it, I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense. But here's one thing I will say. Can we look at other cultures and get inspired and bring it to ours? Because instantly I thought about Supreme. Troy thought about Supreme. We looked at our own culture and said, oh, you got inspired by that. That's pretty dope. No, why don't we think outside the box, get inspired by them and bring it inside our own culture, our own ecosystem. And now it's a whole new world because people are not used to that. Now you look like the innovator, like, oh, snap, this is fire. And really, there has already been a blueprint out before that makes your job so much easier. So sometimes it's thinking about, get inspired outside of the box. Stop looking inside of your own market, your own niche, your own culture, right? And look at what other people are doing. Start researching more on what other businesses, brands, cultures are doing that you can then put your own sauce to it and present it to your culture, present it to as your brand, right? There's a lot of things that I've been inspired by Nip, but now even with that, I'm just like, I've done the outside of the box thing before. I've been inspired by sports. We bring it into to deeper than the brand. I'm inspired by art, right? Bring it into to deeper than the brand. But like the just the logo in itself, I'm just like, why is that so simple that I didn't even think about that, right?
Yeah.
So be inspired of things that are outside of your box and bring it to your side of the world and watch the reaction. And of course, there's going to be a bit of, like an educational gap. Like they're not used to it. And this is anything that we bring in to something new into our world. They're not going to understand it right away. So there may not be a instant gratification, instant reaction to, oh my God, I love this. This is great. You will get some, but for the most part, we got to educate our audience to this is what our brand is. This is the language of our brand. This is the culture that our business is giving. And so that always takes time, whether it's from visuals or whether it's from just a mission statement. So we just have to give grace to that when we do things like a logo, things like a video, things like a proposal. It just may take some time for people to react to it, but when they do, and you stay consistent with it, and you don't change up just because you didn't get a reaction, then people will remember. It will be instilled in our brains, and a brand is not necessarily what we want our brands to be, is what our audience remembers that our brand is, right? It's what's instilled in our minds, not what we want to give to them. It's what's instilled in their own minds of what the brand is. What words instantly come up when they see your name, when they see your logo. So get inspired by other things and give grace. I mean,
That's right.